Usually an inspiration will happen while I'm sleeping. So if I get up in the middle of the night and I have a good idea, or I get this inspiration for a good idea, I'll write the idea down on a piece of paper next to my bed, and in the morning when I wake up, if I still think it's a good idea and that it's never been done, or I didn't think it's ever been done before, I'll then pursue it. And what I mean by pursue it is I would check the world to see if anybody else ever did it before. And if not, I would start doing drawings and then try to build one to test it and start to develop the idea. Well, press-on memo is what I invented in 1972, and that's one of my first inspirations and ideas, but that one I didn't dream. That one came to me out of necessity, where I had to leave a note for my wife. We had just gotten married, and I had to leave a note for her on the refrigerator, and I didn't have any Scotch tape to put the paper up. So I had to figure out a way of putting something on the refrigerator so that she could see the note without using Scotch tape. I'm not that familiar with patents in Latvia, but generally speaking, patents internationally are not as good as having a patent in America. First of all, filing a patent in the United States gives you 12 months to file anywhere else in the world. So you don't necessarily have to file it in Latvia. You could file it in America and you have 12 months to file that same patent somewhere else in the rest of the world. The marketplace is really, the reason to have a patent, I believe, is for what we call a monopoly. To be able to do the product or the invention without having anybody else in the world be able to. The governments of the world give you that right, to an exclusive right to make that product for 17 to 22 years, depending on the patent. And during that time, you have no competition. And the best business in the whole world to be in is a business you don't have competition in. You don't have to worry about somebody else outdoing you, or prices, or difficulties you have in an everyday business where somebody else is waking up thinking of great ideas how to beat you, and you're waking up in the morning thinking of great ideas how to beat him. That's eliminated when you have patents, because when you have a patent, you have a monopoly on that product for at least 17 to 22 years of doing without having competition. In I don't know the year, 1920, or very early on in the patent industry, or the patent office in America, they had something like a couple of thousand patents. And the patent office made a suggestion that they close the patent office. This is in 1900 or 1890 or some early starting of the United States Patent Office. And they made the suggestion to the government that they close the patent office because everything that could be invented has already been invented. So that just gives you an idea. It's impossible to know what's going to happen tomorrow. The amazing things that we have invented today, like being able to see video and digital on non-moving scan disk cards. Memory cards. There's no moving parts in there. There's no electronics in there. All it is ones and zeros. How does that actually show pictures and have sound? It's amazing. So you really don't know where the limit is. It's limitless, actually. So you should never give up. And inventions are always going to happen. There's never an end to inventing. First of all, I'm in the business of creating new, novel, and unique inventions and things, and that's a pretty cool job. I mean, when I get inspired by a new invention, if other people get inspired, I get more enthused. It's like having a child. When you have a child and you talk about your child to people, you don't have to get enthused to talk about your child. You're already enthused because you love the child and you're excited about what they could do and things like that. Same thing with an invention. When you get inspired with an idea that everybody else is appreciative of and likes and gets excited about, it just feeds your excitement. So I've never ever had an idea that I wasn't enthusiastic about. And I think that if I ever did, I wouldn't be able to really bring it to fruition, because I need to be excited about something to do it. Beautiful. iPhone. New things. Friends. That's what I think of when I think of work. Universities. Cool stuff. Nice person. Invent. That's a hard one. The first thing that comes to my mind is money. I don't think you could have rules to be motivated. I think motivation comes from within. People try to motivate other people. There are motivational speakers and they try to motivate people. But I think if you have something in you, or you have an idea, or you're inspired by something, that gives you the energy and the inspiration you need to move forward. I don't think it's something you could say to yourself, I'd like to have the inspiration to do this. You have to feel it. Genuine inspiration and enthusiasm is something people could see. You can't fake that. Never give up on something that's not futile. If something is destined to fail, which is hard to tell. I mean, you don't know when you're starting out in a new idea or a new business or a new product whether it's going to be successful or not. But you do get a feeling, you know, and if you're out there and 10 people tell you you shouldn't keep doing it, and you feel you should keep doing it. But after 10 or 20 or 30, or when you get a unanimous vote, not ever getting anybody saying, wow, you should keep going, I don't know, it's kind of like, I don't know how people can continue to do that. It's hard to do it when people are pushing you down, because you get discouraged after people start telling you you don't like something, you know, or that won't work, or what do they need you for? There's a million different things that people tell you when you come up with a good idea. The first 10 you shouldn't listen to. You shouldn't, because basically they really have no research and no knowledge to really be able to give you any advice. But after a while, as weeks and months go by, if you can't get anybody to agree with what you're doing, I'm not saying you should give up, but that seems a little futile. I've never had a situation where I've had people tell me that they didn't like it, and I couldn't find somebody that did like it. I was always able to find somebody that did like it. I don't know how I would react if I couldn't find anybody at all. And sometimes an inventor will try to convince somebody. You know, like, I came up with this great idea and everybody hates it. So what I'll do is I'll try to convince somebody. And you have to try to convince somebody in the business you invent in, not just people that are not knowledgeable about. Like, if you invent something for the car, go into the car industry and try to show them your invention. And if you can't find anybody in the car industry that likes it, you're probably not on a good track. If you find somebody you can convince that it's good for the automobile industry, then you should stay with it. So it's all a matter of feeling, your own enthusiasm, your own feeling for your own product. Well, advertisements are also like created inventions. I mean, somebody can come up with an advertising campaign that excites people. And if you can excite people, you get them the message, they'll buy the product. So I do believe in inspiration coming from advertisements. When I see an advertisement, if I think it's genius, I get excited about the product, the idea, the concept, the whole thing. When you see an ad that's just giving you information, all you're doing is getting information. You're not inspired by it. So I think good advertisement would inspire you to want to read the article, to read the advertisement, and to follow through and buy the product. You know what? It doesn't matter where you are. It has to do with what your individual thinking is. You're one individual in Latvia. There's one individual in New York. There's one individual in Moscow. That individual, no matter where you are, is going to have a thought. And that thought doesn't matter where you are. You can create, if you're on cutting edge and you know what's going on in the rest of the world, you could pretty much create anything you want. From imagination, you can imagine these things. If you can imagine it, you can do it. Definitely, there's no question about that. If there's something you think can be done, it may not be able to be done today, but I can guarantee you that in the next 10 or 20 years, it'll definitely be able to be done. So, and again, it doesn't matter where you are. You could be in Latvia to come up with that idea. You could be in New York and come up with that idea. The people in New York are not any smarter than the people in Latvia. The people in Latvia are not any stupider than the people in Moscow. I mean, everybody's people. We're all human beings. We're all the same. And whether I'm in another country or I'm in my country, people are people. They all have the same wants, the same needs, the same desires. They get excited about the same things. So it doesn't matter where you are. Latvia is a small country, I know that. But, well, America's a big country, so what? People are people no matter what size the country is. I wouldn't care where the agency is. If I thought the agency did good work, I would look at their work, and if I was in the market for it. I mean, I wouldn't be looking for an agency if I didn't have a need for someone. Like if I want to do a package for a product that I just invented, I'd go to an agency that does packaging pretty much in that industry. Because there's a certain packaging in an industry, like in the fertilizer business. There are certain packaging that looks really good in fertilizer. Not to say that somebody that's not in the fertilizer business couldn't come up with a better packaging, but the public is used to this packaging, and this agency that does fertilizer packaging knows what these people are looking for. So you tend to go with an agency that has done it before, or does quality work that you have to like something they did. Otherwise, I mean, I've seen a lot of advertisement for people that do logos, and I didn't like their logo. Why would I call them? If I liked their logo and I was looking for a logo, I'd hire them right away. I mean, that's a pretty simple thing to think of. If somebody's selling logos and the one they have is not saleable, obviously they didn't do such a good job on their own. How are they going to do a good job for me? I know that you guys do creative artwork, advertisements and stuff like that. I had a chance to watch one of the videos. I think it's pretty cool. I haven't really had a lot of time to look at too many details of it, but generally speaking, it looks pretty cool.